You're about to hear the story of a man who was Muslim his entire life, but his curiosity and interest in the truth sparked a journey away from Islam. At the age of 46, he left Islam. This is a clip from a previous interview I did with Sufi, not his real name, an anti-theist living in Pakistan. How when he read Dan Gibson's research, the Sacred City documentary and the Quranic geography book, it changed his life. No matter which side of the debate you are on, whether you think Gibson is right or wrong about Muhammad being from Petra, you have to admit that the Saudi government definitely is not interested in opening up this can of worms. They don't stand to gain anything from this research. It's in their best interest to keep the status quo. It opened up his eyes to start looking into other things he was taught about Islam that are not necessarily true. He went from being a believer praying 5 times a day to eventually now leaving Islam.
Because from childhood we thought that all the mosques in the world, they are facing Qibla. And this have
Oh yeah.
really shocked me when I read when I have seen this Dan's work. And then of course he's challenging, and you can check it yourself, and all this early 100-year mosques, they are all pointing at Petra, which is such a, and Petra is so perfectly matching with all this old, whatever which is mentioned in Hadith, which is nothing, is because the temples of Dushara and Lat and Manat and all these, they're all there.
Mm-hmm.
And archaeologically, Mecca has nothing. It's if when they were doing so much of digging and all that, if it was an ancient city as Muslims claim, there will be so much of you can find if you dig any old city like Syria, any city in Syria or in Jordan, all these ancient, or maybe Israel, for example, or Palestinian areas. They're all ancient areas. So if you dig them, and there was a lot of digging going on because they have constructed the whole Mecca new, and they didn't find anything. No traces of any old city, old buildings, old anything. Nothing is there.
But
So it means that
they don't want to allow people to research that, right? The Saudi government, right?
yeah, they have a lot of restrictions, but I think I will again mention Dan, that he was there and he spoke to the archaeologists, and they told him, no, we didn't find anything. The other, because they were scared also, but they told him that he should not mention their names. But the archaeologists from Saudi Arabia, they said we didn't find anything when we digged. And like if you go to any ancient city,
Mm-hmm.
I live in a ancient city which is like 5,000-6,000 years old, and if whenever there is a construction, they dig something, there is something, they find a some house or a wall digged under the underground, or after some digging they found some things, they found coins, they find things, but in Mecca there is nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
and
cannot find.
I'm just sharing the Quranic geography book. There's actually, this book is quite a big book. Like you said, there's a documentary
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
But it has all of the research. It has pictures. If
Mm,
anyone's interested in going into more detail,
mm,
exactly what brother here is saying about the direction of the Qibla, like,
mm.
and Muslims do have some sort of explanations for this. They say, well, the Qibla wasn't that the math wasn't
That
accurate or
accurate.
something. They come up with some excuses why it's facing the wrong direction.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
this is a great book, and I actually read this book as well. And there's also the Sacred
Mm,
City documentary if someone doesn't want to go to
mm,
the whole book. But I just wanted
mm.
to reference that. So this was actually for you a game changer, was it?
Yeah, big game changer, because I thought like it was, I thought that if this is, it is like, when a 5 years old or 6 year old Christian kid is told that Santa is not real, and
Mhm.
they get really upset. So
Yeah.
it was my Santa not real. I was really shocked.
Mhm.
I thought, if this is not true, which is like the physical reality, and how much virtual we believe. Like for example, like if Mecca is not the city and where he was born, and this is not the starting of Islam from here, if it's Petra, and all these qiblas are wrong, and this is, and then there was like, it was very difficult. It was 2 years I did a research I started like having my, like I was really tired, and I thought I'm gonna lose my eyesight because I was spending like 20 hours per day listening to speeches, reading about it, doing my research. And, like I was like really going because, it was such a big shock. And especially at the time when I was a real solid believer and I was really, really strong. And then at that time, if your faith is shaken like this, you really, you're struggling not to find the faults. You are actually struggling to find some way so you can cling back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're so shocked. You want to, you don't want it to be a lie. You want it to, you have to find some reason to go back. And then, I the first thing was like all these rituals. I came to know that they're all not true. Like I found this Zoroastrian things where all this miracles were taken, like flying horse and this and that. And then I found,
The
then I
bridge, the Shivanat bridge as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
It
the
goes over
bridge.
hell.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then their timing of prayer, which is exactly like Muslims, the 5 times they do wuzu, they cover their head with the same caps. So I realized that it's all Zoroastrian. And then the second thing, and I wanted it to be true, but more I was digging in, more I was going critical. It was turning out to be a Pandora's box, and everything was coming out like all these worms, and I was not able to control it. More I try to find truth, I find more lies. Then I came across about hadiths to be 250 years old. They started writing, and they are 9 generations past, in 250 years. And then, most of us will not know our grandfather's name 4 generations back or 5 generations back, 9 generation back. And they are, and the writers are all Persians. That was again a big shock for me. None of the writers or but okay, the apologists, they say that there is one who was an Arab, and everybody has, like, I think Imam Shafi'i was an Arab, and they took everything from him. But we don't have his real books. We have only copied books or something like that. I think it is Imam Shafi or somebody else, or Tibri or somebody who is an Arab. But most of them, all these Siha Sitta Imams, are all Persians.
Thanks for watching. Check out the full video linked below if you want to hear more. For those of you who would like to support the channel, please check out my support page below. It means a lot to me. Thank you. This is Abdullah Samir signing out.